now. We're going to move on to session 5. I'd like to introduce Teresa Harrington, who will present session 5, which is contract modification. Sorry.
Thank you, Shandy. So this next section walks through the contract modification process. We're going to prepare the CPA 153, sign the document, prepare and review the modification in ProTrax and Conservation Desktop, obtain the client's signature on the 1156, review the modification obligation, and then finally approve the modification. So we're starting with Lesson Plan 32, prepare the NRCS CPA 153. The background here is that there are instances where contracts will be in noncompliance and require client actions to bring the contract back into compliance. These contract violations are documented on an agreement covering noncompliance with provisions of Conservation Program contract, the 153. And this task is manually created by a user with the designated conservationist role. Okay, so we're going to start by clicking search. And on the search screen, selecting the client state and service center, and then entering either the client's name or their contract number. And so we're still working with the same contract that we've been using in the previous lesson plans. And then once that's entered, click on search, and then select the contract ID under the application's search results. Okay, so that will open this contract in the table of contents. We're going to select the contract number to expand that panel, and then from there, select Create Contract Related Task. Okay, and for Create Contract Task, for the task, we're going to select Prepare the CPA 153. And then we're going to assign the task to ourselves in this example. Okay, and you can enter comments and then click the Submit button. Okay, so we get a confirmation window that the task was created successfully. Click on Close. And from here, we're going to go into the task list. Okay, when the task list opens, we'll select the Assign to Me tab. And we're going to look for that Prepare CPA 153 task that we just created. Go ahead and select that task. And that will open up the 153 form in a pop-up window. So once that opens from the menu at the bottom of that window, you can save the copy of the form to your computer. And then once it's saved, go ahead and close the form. Okay. From here, we're going to go to Document Management. And in Document Management, we're going to upload the 153 that we just saved. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is check the context, and if needed, we're going to change that to select the agreement. And then click on Upload New Document. A document category, we'll select CPC. And then for document type, we're going to select the CPA 153. Okay, we'll click on the Browse button and find that file that we just saved. Okay, and for the signature types, we're going to check the participant signature. Check that the client's name is selected in the participant checkbox, and then click Upload. And once that's completed, you can close the document management screen. You can see there that it's showing in the documents list now that it's uploaded successfully. And from here, we're going to go back to the task list. And select the Assign to Me tab, and then we're going to manually complete the Prepare CPA 153 task. So click on Actions and then select Complete. All right, and that is the end of Lesson Plan 32. Lesson Plan 33, we're going to sign the CPA 153. So after the client reviews the prepared 153 and agrees to the actions for bringing the contract into compliance, an approving official reviews the document for accuracy and completeness and signs the agreement. So we're going to select the Sign NRCS CPA 153 task, upload a new version of the 153 to document management, and then manually complete the task. So we're going to start in the task list and go to the Available to Me tab. Okay, and if needed, you can filter the tasks to select the Sign CPA 153. Otherwise, click the link to select that task. Okay, and that will open up the agreement if it's not already open in Conservation Desktop and take us to the document management screen. Okay, so we're going to find the 153 that was uploaded in the last lesson plan. Click on the Actions icon for that document and select Create New Version.
Okay, so we talked about the timeout issue. Sometimes it gives you a warning, and I think sometimes if you leave it idle, it will just kind of time out itself and not tell you. So if you're ever in here working and you start just getting all of these weird things happening like that, the best thing to do is just to log off and log back on. This may not be an issue in production. It may just be with our training environment. But like we took that 10-minute break, and maybe that was just too long for CD to be idle. So we will log back in. And just a quick note going through these 153s. To save time and steps, the ones that work with the 153s know the process of creating the 153, writing everything up on it, getting the participant to sign it. Once the participants sign it, it moves forward, at least here in West Virginia, to the area office and then to the state office for signature. And so we're kind of like skipping over all of those additional steps just to show you what you'll be doing in CD as far as uploading that and marking it within the document management. So just keep that in mind, that we do know the process. We're not trying to teach policy and not necessarily the whole progress of things, but just how that progress works inside of CD. So just a quick note on that.
All right, so Heather's logged out of the Conservation Desktop training site and logged back in. We'll wait for the document management screen to open up again and then try that create new version again. Okay, so from here, click on the Browse button, and again, we're going to browse to the saved 153, select Open. And this time for signatures, we're also going to select the NRCS approving official checkbox. So both the participant and the approving official checkbox are checked. It looks like the client is selected there, so that's good. And we'll click on Upload. And once that finishes and refreshes, it should show the updated version number for the 153. That's been updated to version 2.0. We can go ahead and close out of the document management screen. And we'll go back to the task list. And again, if needed, select the Assign to Me tab. Okay. And we're going to find that Sign 153 task and manually complete that by clicking on the Actions menu and selecting Complete. So that was lesson plan 33. This is 34, preparing the modification. The background here, contract modifications are specific changes to a contract that require an approving official's signature, possibly the participant's signature. Approved modifications are documented on the 1156. Modifications that require the participant's signature would include losing control of land, extending the contract period, rescheduling contract items more than 1 year after originally scheduled, adding or deleting contract items, and increasing the contract cost by more than $500. Minor contract changes do not require planners to obtain approval or the participant's signature, and all of these changes are numbered, dated, and labeled with the planner's name in ProTrack. So in this lesson, we will create and assign the Prepare Modification task, start a modification in ProTrack, and unlock the folder Then we're going to go into Conservation Desktop, make the contract changes, go back to ProTracks, lock the folder, and then update contract item information and run check rules in ProTracks. And then we'll come back and manually complete the prepare modification task. Okay. So we're going to start by going to the search screen so that we can select the designated conservationist role. On the search screen, we'll go to Open ProTracks from the ProTracks Links menu. And select Designated Conservationist for the role. Once that's done, you can close the ProTracks window. All right, so we're going to go to the search screen and search for our agreement that we've been working with. Okay, it looks like we already have that open, so we could just select it from the table of contents here. Okay, once the agreement is loaded in the table of contents, we're going to expand or click on the contract number to expand that panel and then select Create Contract Related Task again. And this time in the task window, we'll select the Prepare Modification task. And again, we're going to assign this task to ourselves. Okay. And then you can enter an optional comment and then click on Submit. So in this example, what we're going to do is for this contract, we're going to go in and increase the number of pumping plants. For contract item 1, we'll increase the number from 1 to 2. So Heather's putting that in as a comment for this task. And again, once that task is created, we should see a confirmation window, and we can click Close to close that window. Okay. So from here, we're going to go to the task list. And on the task list, select the Assign to Me tab, and we're going to select that Prepare Modification task that we created. Okay, so this opens it up in ProTracks. For now, because we still have the folder locked in Conservation Desktop, we're going to close the ProTracks window and close out of this case in Conservation Desktop first, and then we'll go over to ProTracks. So to do that, we're going to go to the table of contents and click on the case file name. And then from there, select Close Case. And we get a window asking if we really want to do this. Go ahead and click Yes to close the case file.
Real quick, Teresa, closing the case file is what would be similar to if you have the folder checked out in Toolkit, you need to check it back in before you can work on a modification in ProTrack. So to kind of compare like the case to the customer folder, you could look at it that way.
Yep, good point. All right, so now the case is closed in Conservation Desktop. We're going to go back to the search screen, and we're going to search for that application again. And this time we're going to open it not in Conservation Desktop, but we're going to open it in ProTracks. So we'll select the State Service Center, put in the contract number, and then from the contract results, if you click on the actions icon, instead of clicking right on that link, click on actions. There's an option to open it in ProTrax. Okay. Yeah, so in the ProTrax window, we'll select Modify. Okay. And for the modification reason, select Add, Edit, or Delete practices or components. And then we're going to enter in the comment box a reason for the modification. So again, for this contract, we're increasing the number of pumping plants to 2 for item number 1. And then click OK. All right, and then once this window refreshes, we should have the option to unlock the folder in ProTrax. So we'll click on that and then click OK to proceed. So again, this is releasing the lock that ProTrax has on that customer folder or case file so that we can go back over to Conservation Desktop and make changes there, similar to what you would do if you're working in ProTrax and Toolkit. So we can minimize the ProTrax window. Okay, and then we're back at our Conservation Desktop search screen. This time we're going to click on the link for that application number, and that'll open up that application in Conservation Desktop. Okay, and once that loads, we're going to click on the Show Tables button down at the lower right corner of the screen. And we're going to select the Practice Schedule tab. All right, to look at our practice schedule. For the View button, by default it opens in TA View. We're going to click the radio button for the FA View, and that way we can see the contract information for our practices. Okay, and then what we're looking for is contract item number 1. So you'll have to scroll to the right to view that information. Kind of easy in this example since we just have the one practice here. So we'll select on that practice for contract item 1 to highlight the row. And then when we do that, that edit button becomes active. So we'll click on the edit button to update the practice. Then in the edit practice window, we're going to change the amount for the pumping plant from 1 to 2, and then click on the Save and Close button. Click OK in the confirmation window. The changes were successfully saved. And then you can also check in the practice schedule table. It looks like the planned amount updated there. Okay. So at this point, we're done making our changes in Conservation Desktop. We're going to go back and close this case file. So I'll click on the case file name in the table of contents and select Close Case again. And so this will release the lock that Conservation Desktop has on that case file so that we can jump back over to ProTrax and finish up the modification there. So once that's done, we're going to go back and open or maximize the ProTrax window. And this time we're going to click on the lock folder link to reestablish that lock in ProTrax. And click OK to confirm. Okay. In the ProTrax window, we're going to go to the practice section of the contract, that blue section, and change the planned amount to 2. Okay. And then below that in the component section, We're also going to change the amount to 2. And then click Save up at the top of the ProTrack screen. All right, so we get this message window here. Go ahead and click OK. Right, next we're going to go and run check rules. So we'll click on check rules. And again, after reading the information window, we'll click OK to close that. Okay, and from here we can close ProTrack. And back in Conservation Desktop, we're going to open up the task list. Okay, and select that Prepare Modification task. We'll click on the Actions menu and complete the task. So just a note here, if the user completes the Prepare Modification task and the Modification Technical Adequacy task, which is the next one that we're going to do, at the same time in ProTracks without returning to desktop to manually complete the task, then when the user does return to CD, instead of manually closing the Prepare Modification task, you can select Refresh, and that will auto-complete both of the tasks, both the Prepare Modification and the Modification Technical Adequacy. All right, if you do try to manually close the Prepare Modification task, in that instance, CD would create an orphan Modification Technical Adequacy task that would require CD support to fix. So they're currently looking into correcting that so it doesn't create that orphan task. Okay, so that's the end of Lesson Plan 34. Lesson Plan 35, Modification Technical Adequacy. After the Prepare Modification task is complete, the Modification Technical Adequacy task will be automatically created. Before a modification can be signed by the client and approved, it has to be reviewed for technical adequacy. Okay, so for this lesson plan, we're going to start from the task list again and select the Available to Me tab. And in this case, we're going to select that Modification Technical Adequacy task. And once we select that, it will open the contract in the ProTracks window. In ProTracks, we're going to select Submit for Approval up at the top. Okay, and then we'll select OK to confirm the technical adequacy. All right, so we want to make sure the radio button for Yes is selected, and then click OK. Okay, once ProTracks is finished working, again, we'll get a message window. We can read through that and then click OK to continue. Next, we're going to select Print from the blue bar at the top of the ProTracks window. And in the Print menu, we're going to select the 1156 and then click OK. Okay, and we want to select Yes to upload the document to DMS. And we get a message letting us know that the document has been successfully uploaded. So we can click OK to close that. All right, and since the document was uploaded, we can go ahead and close the document here. And we can also close the Protracts window. All right, so we're going to go back Task List, Assign to Me tab, and click on the Refresh button. And that should automatically remove that Modification Technical Adequacy task from the list. All right, that's the end of Lesson Plan 35. For 36, we're going to review the modification. So after the modification has been reviewed for technical adequacy and submitted for approval, the review modification task is automatically created. The modification will be reviewed for accuracy and completeness, and we'll check that the documents are all present in document management. Okay. So we're going to go to the task list and click on the Available to Me tab. And we'll select the Review Modification tab. Okay, this will open the document management window, and we're going to go in and verify that the documents are present. Okay, so under Agreement Documents, we have the 1156, and then we can click on the tab for Participant Documents. And under Participant Documents, we may have the CCC 901, 902, Power of Attorney, any other signatory documents, direct deposit, and SAM.gov verification. Okay. Once we've reviewed the list, you can click on the Review This Modification button. Okay, and then we'll enter a comment as far as what is being reviewed. And then you can select whether the modification review will pass or fail. And in this example, we're going to select the Pass radio button. And then click Submit. All right, and once that finishes saving, click on the X to close out of the document management screen. And then on the task list, select the Assign to Me tab. And this task should automatically complete, so if we click on the Refresh button, it should remove the task from our Assign to Me list. All right, and that is the end of Lesson Plan 36. 37 is the participant signature on the modification. And so after a modification has been prepared in Protracts, sorry, we flip ahead to the next one. Okay. So So we are on 37, participant signature on the modification. After the modification has been prepared in Protracts and checked for technical adequacy, the participant signature on modification task is automatically created. So the client will need to sign the 1156. Okay, and we're going to start this one by going into search. And we'll go into the Protracts links menu and selecting Open Protracts. Okay, so we're going to select the Farm Bill Specialist role. And then go ahead and close out of Protracts. All right, from here we'll select the task list. And once that opens up, click on the Available to Me tab. And we'll select the participant signature on modification task. All right, so right now, when you select the participant signature on modification task, it opens up to the document management screen. And there's been a change request turned in to have the contract page open up instead of document management. So for now, we're just going to click on the X to close out of document management. And we'll open Protracts from the table of contents. So if we can click on the agreement number, and then click on the Manage Contract link to open Protracts. Okay, in Protracts, select the contract and then click View Contract. And in the participant sign date, we're going to enter today's date. And then click outside of the box. And once Protracts finishes refreshing, we can close all of the Protracts windows. Okay, and then in the task list, we're on the Assign to Me tab, so we'll click Refresh, and that should remove the participant signature task from the task list. Okay, so for here, to get ready for the next lesson plan, we're going to go ahead and log out of CD, out of Conservation Desktop. So just click on the User menu, select Log Out, Log Off. Okay, and we're doing this because in Lesson Plan 38, we're going to log in either as Sean or as Heather again to go on to the next step.
Hey, Teresa.
Yes.
Since the next one is review the modification, and the rationale, it says that the modification is less than $500, that task, review modification obligation, will not generate. And because there was a glitch in this one, it already had two planned. So the actual monetary value of this modification did not increase. So this task is not going to generate. So we can skip over to Lesson Plan 39 for approved modification.
Okay, sounds good. That'll help make up some time too.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go to 39, approved modification. Since we do not need to review the obligation in this case. The background here, after the review modification obligation task has been completed, the approved modification task is automatically created. An approving official can either approve or disapprove a modification. If the modification is approved, the contract changes are accepted and the modification is complete. If it's disapproved, the contract will revert back to its pre-modification state. The user then has the opportunity to either start a new modification or to leave the contract as it is. Okay. So Heather's logged back in as herself since we didn't actually need to go in and review the obligation. Let's see. So from here, we're going to go to the search screen and then go into ProTrax to update our role. So we'll click on Open ProTrax, and we're going to select the approving official role. Okay, and then we can close ProTrax and open the task list. Okay, we'll select the Available to Me tab, and we're going to look for the Approved Modification task for our assigned client. Okay, go ahead and click on that task to open it. And selecting the Approved Modification task will open the contract in a ProTrax window. And from here, we're going to select Approve Modification. All right, so in the Approved Contract Modification screen, we are going to verify that the Approved Radio button is selected. We can enter a note in the Approval section, and then once that's done, click OK. All right. Once that's finished, we can close the ProTrax window. Click on OK in the information window, and then we can close ProTrax. All right, and then back on the task list, we're going to click on the refresh button, and again, this approved modification task should automatically complete. All right, so that is the end of Lesson Plan 39. Shandy, I will turn it back to you.
Thank you, Teresa. If you want to go ahead and make sure your questions are in the Q&A pod, I'm just trying to gauge a couple things on the schedule. We're slated to do one more section today, but I'm tempted to hold that over until tomorrow so that we can get through a few questions and make sure that everything is clear for everyone today, because we do have a little extra time tomorrow. So make sure you get your questions over there. Be cool with that, Heather. We'll do DMS tomorrow, first thing, and then roll into the TA portions. Yeah. Okay, we have, let's see, this question. Does adding another pumping plant out of practice in the geospatial area? There are two comments about you adding that extra pumping plant without having spatial data. Do you want to address that?
I do not believe it does.
Okay. Let's see. The 153 created in Conservation Desktop was blank, whereas the 153 created from ProTrax would populate the state, county, contract number, and participants. Are there plans for this when creating from CD? Will creating a 153 from CD add that activity to the ProTrax contract history?
Adding it from CD, no, it will not. As you noticed, we don't have anything in the works to have that populated. And I don't know if that would even be a possibility coming from CD. We would have to look into that.
Gotcha. Let's see. For tasks that have to be manually completed, if someone doesn't use the tasking process that we've been demonstrating today, are those tasks ever going to go away?
Yeah, we do have, the tasks have a self-healing built into them. So if something changes on the status of that application or contract, for instance, those tasks will close or abandon, basically, and they will not show up in the available to me tab anymore.
Okay. Well, that actually looks like we've moved through